Well, hello folks, I'm back, feeling a little bit groggy. Well, I feel alright, but I've still got a bit of a bad nose and a bad cough. So if I cough, that's why. We're going to be doing this thing today. Setting these valves up. I actually did them before I got poorly with my cold. So the video of me actually adjusting the gap on them valves, I did about a week ago. But that's how we're going to start this video. And today I'm going to put the pressure gauge in and we're going to run this thing up and see what sort of pressure we get, if any. It might be harder, I don't know. We shall see. Right, roll the credits. Yes, so if my voice is a bit different on the video where I'm adjusting the gap on these valves to what it is now, it's simply because that was before cold. Fitting this pressure gauge is going to be today, which is after cold or during cold. Right, see you soon. And also, when we go to start this thing, it's only about 2 degrees. It's barely above freezing, so that'll give this thing a good cold start. Bearing in mind it's been sitting in that shed as well, which has got no heating or even a door on it. So we'll see what she starts like when she's cold. Right, time to roll them credits. Welcome to the man cave. Let the games begin. Right folks, what we're going to do today is take these blow-off valves out the top, relief valves, cut-out valves, whatever you call them. And I'm going to adjust the gap in them, because I've had them out and I shouldn't have done. Well, it didn't matter, but I should have put them back in. The same amount of turns they come out, and I didn't realise this, because I didn't realise what all these were for, till someone very kindly explained, like I said in yesterday's video. So we're going to just take these, slacken all these pipes off. Come on. So this pipe go all slack without breaking it. There we go. That's it. They're all coming undone now. We just need to take these 2 pipes off the top and take these valves out. And then we need to look down there, and I'll show you what's down there and basically how they work. There we go. I've got them off. So now them pipes are hung out the way, we need to unscrew these. There we go. And I'll show you what's in them. Little pin on there, look. See that? And that is... Let's turn the light on. Yeah, I'm on. Where's the light? There we go. Right, what these basically do, they're on a diaphragm. When air comes in here, it pushes this little pin. There you go, look, see that pin move? And what that does is push down on the reed valves, which are in there, which releases the pressure. Now, if I've got these screwed in too far, it'll constantly have the valve pushed open, not far enough, and it won't reach the valve. And it could cause it. Of course, this compressor shouldn't, which I thought it was meant to. I just thought it was meant to build up pressure and blow it off out of there when it gets that high. It isn't. It's meant to get to a certain PSI and then stop charging. Of course, these little valves here push down on your reed valves. Can we see the reed valves in there? Let's have a look. Yeah, you can see in that hole, you can see the reed valve right down the bottom there, look. And that's what these push on. And that tells it, you know, that pushes it to release the pressure. So let me get a set of calipers out and I'll measure that gap down there and we can get this set. So we're back with our calipers. I want to measure the gap. If we come down here, so I can see with my little light, here we go. Now if I measure this gap down there to the valve, see that pushing that valve? See, look, there's your reed valve. Pushing open. So we need to set this until that's just before where that valve is. Excuse my hand in the way, I'm trying to use the light from the camera as well to see down there. So we're starting to push that valve. Valve is closed, valve is open, valve's closed. Right, that's about the gap. So we screw him down. And what we want to do is measure this to make sure the pin is at the distance of the lock nut. Do you know, I had that about right, look. So it isn't sort of bordering on touching that reed valve, I will give us a little bit of an air gap. So what we'll do, we'll open this up a bit. We'll just put this down a tad. Cool, that's tight. Hang on, let me get that in a vise and do that turn. Right. I've undone this one turn, which should... There we go. See, we've got that much gap now between the thing and the valve, and this has got plenty of pull to actually do that. So that should open and push that reed valve down. When that valve is open, that'll take up that tiny little bit of slack. Just double check. Yeah, that's about right. That is about right. So, let's get our gap again. That's better. We should have about 2 millimeters of gap. So we can now screw this back in. When I can find the thread. Come you round here. When I can get it started. Come on, girl, get started. There we go. Right, now our pipe fitting is at the wrong way. So we're going to have to just somehow move this pipe fitting. Let's just nip this down. Yeah. Now we have got to adjust that pipe fitting. Let's do this one. Let's get this one done as well. Right, that's that one undone. I will just... Now, can we get to this one? This one. I hope I can get to that engine off. Or with the engine on, should I say. Now, what we're going to have to do with this is get a... Shall we assume the gap is the same this side as it is the other? I wonder. Let's just check our gap. See if we had it about right. Too far away, let's. See how far away that is? Bit too much gap there. I think we need to go half one turn. We still have a fair old gap there. So I obviously had this one way too far out. No, we're going the wrong way, Mr. Fenn. We've got to come upwards, look. Of course we have. There we go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick something in that hole. till I can see that valve and then measure it. So I can't get the calipers in because the engine's in the way. Yeah, I measured that with a little bit of stick. I put a bit of stick down. And we need to be there, which is there. About the same gap as, yeah, about the same gap as the other side. So if we set this gap there to there you go, we're about right. So I didn't have this one screwed in far enough. So let's get him back in, and hopefully, hang on, let's come around here again so I can get to work properly. There we go. I think that's where it used to be, because I'm starting to go tight there, so I think it needs to be here. I think this is definitely the place. So we were only one turn out. There we go, that's that one in. Right, can we turn this round? That's turning the whole thing. Excellent. Let's get this backed off a little so we can get that lined up. Only 1/4 a turn. Was that airline pipe there is not going to line up right. There we go. Alright, let's get that lock nut tightened down. There we go. Now we should be able to put these back on. And we should be, this should be about buttoned down. There you go, that's that one going back on. This one going back on. And these ones are all tight as well. So let me get these tightened back down, get these pipes tightened back up, and then we'll come back. Right, that's all buttoned back down. So these two these two blow-off valves here, unloader valves are the word I'm looking for, unloader valves. These unloader valves now should be set so when there's pressure go down to them, and when that sort of 150 psi gets shot down these pipes, push them pins, it will push them unloader valves to push the reed valves open, which will then release the air what it's compressing straight out of here. And when the pressure drop, they close again and charge the tank. So that's basically how that works on a compressor that runs all the time. So very good. Right, next job, get new pressure gauge fitted. Back in a moo. So our pressure gauge is in little box. We have a spanner. Let's get this pressure gauge in and see what we're up against. Now I have ordered 2 pressure gauges, a big one and a little one. The big one's meant to go in here, but that hasn't turned up yet. Still waiting. This is the little one which I've actually got for the regulator, but for now that's going to do us to go in here because I'm too impatient to wait. Have I ordered the right thread? Oh, look at that. If you wonder why I haven't put any PTFE around this yet, well that's simply because this gauge will be coming back out of here to go in the regulator. So for now we're just going to cope with, there you go, no PTFE. So our gauge is in. Marvellous stuff. Now I need to get some oil to prime the engine and see if it'll go. So let's make it small and I'll be back. Right, there's our oil can. We have an air line which I'm going to throw up to the workshop and plug in here. Oh, come on. There you go. So we've got to see if this puppy starts. But we are going to have to prime it, because I say it is only about, I think that's approaching 3 degrees now, but it isn't very warm. Right, let's get our wound back. Get our little plunger out and squirt some oil in our little primer hole. Fill that little hole right up. Where did that little plunger go? Come on, there we go. That chain ain't really long enough. There we go, that's got her primed. Now let's see if the old puppy go. Stop, run position, so we're in run. Straight away. First button, look. Right, let's see if we're getting any pressure on this thing. Well, see what that's building. There we go. Now this video might be boring for the next couple of minutes, because I'm just going to leave it to build pressure. So if you want to forward through a couple of minutes, you can. Well, that's just going to be watching this thing build. had a blow off at 150. So our valves somehow are not working. But she's blowing off at 150. And it should be releasing through this thing. That needs adjusting though. So let me turn this down to demonstrate exactly what this thing's now doing. If you watch this all the way through, well done. Bit boring watching it build pressure, but this gives us an example of what this thing is. I've only got to touch that. You can hear it click and shut these valves off. Hear that? But that's blowing off down here before it's blowing off up here. So I think I need to adjust this very slightly. How do you adjust it? Or do I have to set a screw off to do that? But it's really close. I mean, I can lift it with one finger. You can hear it. So that is all working. It is releasing these valves because you can hear the engine note change. But no, I'm quite happy with 150 psi. That's plenty of pressure to work with, which is really good. So I think I'm going to have a little go now at adjusting this valve up here. But how you go about doing that, I'm not sure. There's a lock nut on there. So we do need to adjust that up a little bit. So this blows off before this. Yeah, you can definitely hear that's doing its job. So I think I'm going to need to crack this big nut off. Yeah, I should think I'd crack that lock nut, undo this, and then screw this, because there's a knurled wheel on there, a thumb wheel, so that means really that you should be able to turn that in with hand. I think we've got to crack that big lock nut off. So let me get a spanner and we'll have a go. Right, here we go. Ah, lock nut's coming undone, look. So do we have to go in or out with that? No, I think we've got to come out because that took more pulling. Ah, there we go. So that's now flicked on. So I think we come out a bit. So that's, oh, we've lost about 120, so we'll put a bit. Right, that's now closed off. Do this lock nut up again. Then I think we can start this thing back up, if it will start under load, and see if that'll hopefully blow off. Of course, that was up to 150, we're actually down to 125 now, so in our messing around we have lost a bit. So I'm hoping at just about 140 that's going to blow off there. So let's get the rope and get this thing started again. If I can start it with it on its load like this, I'm really not sure if I can. We'll have a go. She might not want to start. Oh, she's under a lot of load. That's it, unload it. Right. So that's a good little note that we've got to have the unloader valve on when you start at hot. And let's look at our gauges and our valve. And we're looking for this one to blow off. That's close, so I think that's going to do it. Let's have a look. Let's just keep watching that. There we go. So we're bang on 150 psi. That unloader valve, that is really good, isn't it? Yeah, so at 150 psi you can now hear that's not charging. Excellent. So what we got, blower. I'm going to let some air out and you should hear that kick back off. That unloader valve should close and come back on. (130 psi). There you go. So at 125 psi, that'll click back on and start charging. So the compressor is working absolutely fine. You can certainly hear the load it makes. The difference in load when that shuts off. That is lovely. I love it. Just shows how much work it takes to compress that air. When you can hear the load come off that engine like that. That should click off in a minute and you'll hear the engine change again. There you go. That's perfect. Let some more air in. Engine's still running freely. 140. 130. Now we should start to come on again. 125. There we go. So there we go, fellas. Lads and ladettes. That is working splendidly. Got to hear that click off and freewheel again. We'll hear a click off and then we'll shut her down. Well, there we go. Sorry that's really loud. Sorry this video is quite boring. If I can work it out, when I edit the video, I'll try and put a timeline in and put it at the beginning so you can forward through the boring bit where it builds up pressure. Unless you want to see it build up pressure. But there we go. That little relief valve and these two, what do they call them again? Unloader valves, that's the one. These two unloader valves we've obviously set up correctly, or it was just luck. But now you'll see at the beginning of the video how I set these up, and it seems this is working. So there, that should be closed now, so the compressor will build pressure, unloaded. But I like how when you stop it, it won't start under load. You've got to manually pull that up. And I think anything over about 100 psi, I think that'll automatically stay up on its own, allowing you to start the engine. So yes, well happy, we have a man cave compressor. I don't think I'm going to mess with that. We have got to get the oil changed on it, but we'll do that on another video. But for today, I'm going to call that a day. Because man cave is still not feeling the best. I'm alright, but I'm not up to full power yet. Unlike this, which certainly is up to full power. Yes. The other gauge I've got going on there, you see. So I'm going to put the little gauge we've just fitted on there and a big gauge on there. But yeah, she's running well, 150, which is perfect. That's what she blows off at. The Petter diesel is certainly got enough power. Just about. Thought it would, because the motor what came off it was 1 horsepower and this engine's 1.5. And they're both about 1500 RPM, so we should all be right. So I'm going to call the video here. And we have a fully working compressor. I meant to say this, my mate come down unannounced the other day to do a bit of rifle shooting, and he bought his bore scope with him, what you look down gun cylinders with, so we could check our air rifles. And I didn't film it, but I did remove this block out of here and put the bore scope in the cylinder to have a look around. And apart from being a little bit oily inside that vessel, not terrifically, you know, I had a bit like grey graphite in there, but I think that's just 50 years of running. But that's luckily kept it quite rust free. But because you don't really want oil under high pressure, of course that has the risk of dieseling, we did actually get a funnel in there, and I did actually pour some diesel in there, swilled that out, let it out the drain, and then I poured some brake cleaner in there. And the whole week I was ill, I left this bung out and this bung out, so it was nice and dry. So yeah, that has been checked inside that cylinder. That's why I've stood this close to it while it's building. It's fine. So all good. I think that unloader valve is getting ready to let go. What is it doing? I think she wants to close. What? She just wanted to close, look. There we go. Well, that's what pressure she closes off at, 125, look. Perfect. Right, so that is definitely it now. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.